welcome to Techthusiasm Live Podcast, 2 weeks in a row, going back to the Monday dinner time, late afternoon, depending on what time zone you're in. Thanks everybody for coming out to today. I got a couple topics to chat about, some catch up to do, some observations, and some interesting things that I was reading about in regards to the home theater kind of market and industry a bit in the last week. So things happening around here. Not a whole lot of tech happening in the last week, actually, but it was the 4th anniversary of the channel. So after last week's live stream was Monday, Tuesday was technically the day that I designated 4 years ago as the birth of Techthusiasm. I think technically that was the day that I think I uploaded the first video to the channel. So it's been an awesome 4 years. Thank you everybody for your participation, your engagement, your friendship, your support, and all that. It's just been a cool ride, and we'll keep going forward, keep building up these systems, keep tinkering, keep playing, keep educating. Hopefully, keep the hobby fun. Got a lot of things still brewing around. Still talking to some brands. Still considering some other types of engagement coming up. Perhaps this year, always more next things to do. But in any case, the last week, again, there hasn't really been a whole lot of home theater AV tech stuff kind of going on around here. We've been doing other non-techie things more so than the techie stuff. Some other house projects, which is still nice, given it's nice outside. Big heat wave hitting the Midwest here. It's like 95 degrees-ish today, I think, was the high. But we put up like 80 square feet of these awesome slat panel storage things. Just basically one whole side of our garage now is those slat panels. Get all this stuff off the floor and get things organized. I'm a big fan of organization, and I like organizing the outside. I want to got some other organization projects that I want to get to inside. But my wife finally got the garden planted with the kids. So basically Saturday, Sunday, spent a lot of time kind of working around the house, just not so much on the Techthusiasm side, but still good to get those things done. Clean up, organize, reduce, donate, and just make all around the house more of a home, more usable and accessible and all that kind of stuff. I did have one kind of tech fitness milestone as well. I hit my 2 million pound milestone lifted on the tonal. Tonal remains still one of my favorite tech purchases about just about of everything. So cranking away on the programs, still working through I'm working through some low back issues these last couple weeks. So that's kept me not sidelined, but definitely need to lay off the lower body, focus on the upper body, and it's compromised a little bit at the end of the program that I was about to finish on the tonal. But I hit 200 workouts and 200 routines and 2 million pounds lifted. So that was a cool achievement, cool milestone, and looking forward to keep going there. In terms of the systems, though, one of the things that actually is happening a lot this last week, and a public service announcement for everybody, is what are you doing for your power management and power protection systems? We've had massive power fluctuations here over the last couple of weeks. In fact, there was one evening we went to bed, my wife and I think we woke up 3 separate times over the course of the late hours of the night, and the house had lost power. And I can hear it. We can hear it very easily because our bedroom is basically directly adjacent to the south side of the house where our garage is, and our natural gas generator is right outside essentially one of our windows, right below one of our windows in our bedroom, right next to the garage. So when we lose power, that thing fires up. It's in an enclosure. It's in a noise abating enclosure box, but it's still pretty loud enough to wake us up and stuff like that. So DTE Energy actually sent us a notice, kind of like an apology email, saying that, hey, there's something going on in your area. We don't know exactly what it is, but we apologize for like the compromised power behavior that you've been experiencing. Because over the course of almost a week, we were at night as well, especially at night, we were losing power regularly. So happy that I have all the equipment on a UPS, and generally pretty much all of my equipment pretty well protected from surges and all of that stuff. I'd really, really, really love to have like a whole home battery. I really need to talk to an electrician, and I think we need to update a few other things around. We had some whole home surge protectors on our electrical service that I think have now degraded, and I don't think they're necessarily protecting the home anymore. Home theater gear is all protected, but the rest of the stuff on the house is not protected in the same way. But I'd really love to get a battery install. I do want to look up some solar power details as well, kind of see where that is. But I'd love to have a whole home battery so that we could keep the house powered, keep everything powered over the 10-second changeover, several second changeover to the generator. But yeah, a lot of expensive gear. It still it didn't motivate me enough I didn't have the time to actually still come down here and put the UPS on the projector. So that remains a to-do. I have the separate unit for that. I want to film the video for it. Literally didn't come down here and do anything in AV related in the past week. But yeah, generally good lesson, right? Keep your stuff safe from those power drops, those power surges. Summertime, hot weather, storms and whatnot could be coming through. Our power grid it was really weak when we first moved in here a decade ago. And then I think the township, the municipality did some significant upgrades and improved the stability of the power system. But it seems like it's degrading again, or something's taken more of a turn for the worse. So definitely nervous to be running a movie or running some content and whatever in here, and have the power drop out in the middle, especially without that projector kind of fully protected. So all the Wattbox stuff is running strong, keeping the gear protected and all that. But you just need to get that projector. I thought about getting something for the subwoofers as well, but the folks at SVS actually told me that the newer models, the the 17s and whatnot, they're built basically that you don't want to put them on any kind of protection. They've got protection built in, and you run the risk of basically kind of like limiting the power circuits or the power delivery to the units. So basically just their recommendation was plug them straight into the wall, which is pretty cool. Chintapit mentioned here, yeah, new Apple TV update released today. Yeah, the beta 2's developer beta 2 is out. I debated putting the dev beta on some of my devices, but I haven't taken the action to do that yet. I may now that the dev beta 2 is out. I did see some things that the first dev beta is expected to be a little bit unstable and whatnot. Hopefully short up a little bit in beta 2, but it is presenting. Actually, I updated my phone earlier, was indicating an update to 18.6 public beta, but I do have the ability to pick the developer beta on here. I didn't check my iPad, and the Mac is showing Tahoe as well available. So I'll probably check the Apple TV and see now if the option to do the developer beta was up there or not. And probably go ahead and do at least one of the Apple TVs just to keep a track as each new one comes out, and especially whatever this bit streaming feature, audio pass-through feature, may or may not be ready essentially to do something with that. Although actually the Apple TV that I'll need to do that with is the one that's downstairs here. So I'll end up having to update them both, really no matter what. So it doesn't probably doesn't matter actually. And I may go ahead and do it on my devices as well. I was reacquainting myself with the list of like, well, what's in Tahoe? Is there anything that's really interesting? And it doesn't really seem like there was too much. And I definitely don't want to put this is my one main working laptop. I use it for a lot of stuff, and I wouldn't want it to be compromised with instability. So we'll see. A couple comments here. Skylake tech's getting hot. Keep it cool. Yep, it's getting hot outside, man. 90s degree 90 since like Saturday. We've been in the 90s. I think we got another day or two, and it's gonna break. Welcome, David. I really want a whole house battery system. Yeah, but without solar, I could charge during off peak and dump the batteries during peak. Yeah, I wonder about that too. Like how long do those batteries hold though? Like how long will they actually run your home relative to capacity versus cost and stuff like that. It's something that I haven't researched much. I need to find a good, reliable electrician in our area, like I said, and get a couple of things dealt with, and then engage the conversation potentially about a battery or the solar. If we had the solar, and especially with the Tesla, be living pretty basically free. Um, well, besides the initial cost to buy the equipment, no extra ongoing cost to power up the EV. Terminator, welcome, welcome. Hello, hello. Brian said he saw that Gene from Audioholics installed a Surge Pure Mach 3 on the outside of his house to protect against lightning. Also eliminated buzzing he was getting. Interesting. Cool. I'll have to check that out. Terminator talking about the Apple TV is a really good reason to upgrade an Apple TV, have second or third gen. If you mean the hardware, I would say no, especially right now, because there's a pretty likely rumor that we'll get another one this year. So if you're going to, if you're a couple generations behind, it's already June. You may as well wait until like September, October, more than likely, and just get the latest version this year and see what's in it. But I don't think there's a major difference, especially if you don't game on it. I don't think you're really missing anything so much. And right now, none of the other features in the software have been locked to any specific version or anything like that. So no major impetus. I just like being current. And over the course of the last couple of years, the last couple of generations of Apple TVs in our household, we have gamed on it quite a bit. Although we don't really game on it much anymore. I think that was pertinent to a comment that I responded to the other day. Still love Sneaky Sasquatch. If you've got little kids and you have an Apple TV and you're in the Apple environment, Sneaky Sasquatch is a really, really great game. And Apple just bought it. They bought the developers and acquired the whole thing. I think developers and the IP. So I think they really saw they have a gem in a winner there, and that game's kind of growing, continuous updates, really fun, especially for like, say, maybe single digit kids or so. We had a lot of fun with Sneaky Sasquatch over the years. So that was one of the driving forces that I've always wanted to stay current right away with the new Apple TVs. No pass through available yet. Yeah, I don't expect. I think we'll be down the road a little bit into tvOS 26 before any real clarity of the pass through features comes to any prominence. But we'll see. Spliffy, welcome. Say hello to everybody. And so Apple TV, the OS is 26. Yeah, we'll see. I think we're probably still probably a month away from the first public beta, but I may not wait that long. I don't know. We'll see. Take the chance. Knock on wood. I know I've never really had major problems when I've tried to go early with beta updates on my equipment. I've always been like a early ring Windows. When before I was using my Mac, I was always like a early ring Windows. I forget what they call it, with whatever their advanced update program was, and it always worked pretty well for me. So Apple's usually pretty stable too. The other tech thing that I have been doing, though, again, not necessarily AV related, although I could say tangentially related to the Apple TV. I've been doing a mass migration of like all of our photo libraries. So particularly this year, as my kids have gotten more connected, my daughter, last year coming into this year, finally, we got my daughter a phone. My son has a device that it's basically kind of like, it's an older iPhone that's not on cellular. It functions as an iPod. It's basically restricted to be a music player, audiobooks and stuff like that. But we did, as they're getting more advanced in their schoolwork, they're writing more, they're researching more, they need to use the internet. I got them both M4 MacBook Airs. And so my wife is the only holdout. Everything in our household, computing wise, device wise, is Apple, except my wife's computer. She refuses to let go of Windows for her computer. But I've been migrating more and more of our stuff basically off of Microsoft services and over into Apple services. So I've abandoned OneNote for Apple Notes, fully embraced like Apple reminders. And so our my wife and I, our photo history going back to basically 2000, so 25 years of photos. Um, when we got our first digital camera when we got married, basically, and so since 2000, we've been accumulating digital photos, and I've largely kept them in OneDrive, and I sync them down to the Synology NAS. But I'm migrating all of that stuff into Apple Photos now, using the shared library features and stuff like that. I think it's a really cool feature where like you can do one iCloud based shared library, so everybody in the family is a member of this shared library, but then everybody still has their own personal photo libraries. So all the nonsense pictures that the kids are going to take that don't need to be retained for like family legacy can just stay in their personal libraries. All the stuff that I take screenshots of or snap pictures of for work and Techthusiasm and just personal reminders and comic book shopping, whenever it is. And then my wife, all the little things that she grabs. Everybody has their own little personal stuff in their personal libraries, but then the shared library is going to be like this longer legacy photo storage, which will contain the photos that really are like the family history. And when my last grandparent passed away, um, the family pooled together out of his estate, and we had all of my grandparents' photos like professionally scanned. So I have all of those. And this year into next year, I want to do the same for like our photos, all of my wife and I's photos that we had pre-digital camera, and all of our family photos and stuff like that, and like get all this stuff locked in and well protected, cloud storage safe, and all of that. So later on, when we're gone, this lifetime library of what will be one, two, three, into four generations of our family will have all of the history of the photos and the records and stuff like that. So hope I'm making a good choice, kind of making Apple the primary copy. I'll probably still keep a local copy on whatever NAS of some sort, maybe even mutually keep it in iCloud, but keep one in OneDrive as well. So two clouds and then one local copy being synced down should be pretty good, but we'll see. Paying for too much cloud storage starts to be a bit of a pain on the wallet. So I'm not sure I want to keep two full copies of all of our stuff in two separate clouds, but we'll see. So anyway, that's been my larger tech project rather than the home theater stuff. As I started in 2000, and I'm up to like 2007, and as we go, like the number of photos that I'm gonna have to bring in per year, and need to do a little sanity checking, a little pruning, and stuff like that as I go. But the volume of photos is going to increase substantially, especially after we get into the 2010s, after the kids came along. A lot more photos after the kids came along. So I also got to see some of the more ridiculous things that we've done with our friends that were captured captured in photos and never to be shared to social media. I think we got a lot more of that too in printed photos in our boxes. Um, so yeah, so in terms of content, again, I haven't watched a movie in the last week. My daughter had some friends over Saturday night, and they actually watched Jaws. My wife was out. I was home with my son, and of course, the older kid and her friends doesn't want the younger kid uh, injecting in their teenage fun anymore. Plus, he wasn't gonna watch Jaws yet anyway. So it would have been cool to watch it though. After Ferris Bueller and some of the other stuff we've watched, I'm keen to watch a few more older movies. We actually almost watched Karate Kid, the first Karate Kid last night. My daughter's keen to watch that because her friend group is talking about. She's heard of Cobra Kai. Like, well, you can't watch Cobra Kai. You got to watch the first three Karate Kid movies, but we didn't actually get to it based on timing. But something that I forgot to mention last week when I mentioned Ferris Bueller was, and I don't know why this is. I need to still ask the right people. Actually, I need to send Sammy Prescott Jr. this question. But we started playback of Ferris Bueller. Of course, it was on the Kaleidoscape. It's running through the rest of the system, everything as it normally is. And I noticed that the lip sync was really off. And so I'm looking at it, we're watching it, and it just wasn't presenting the right way. Lip sync was off. My wife's she's very sensitive to video anomalies, frame rates, and mismatches and stuff like that. So she could tell right away. In my mind, I'm watching it kind of doubting, kind of thinking, and I ended up actually having to remove the 200 ish 210 millisecond audio delay that's set in the Mad VR, which you normally have to do that to account for like the audio processing latency essentially of the Mad VR running all its stuff, motion AI and HDR processing and tone mapping and all that stuff. And I reduced it to 0. I took all the delay out, and then the lip sync stuff matched back up again. And as far as I know, the Anthem didn't update. Um, so some in some MadVR installations, you have to manually set delays. In some installations, depending on the equipment that's interfacing with each other, you don't, because there's like elements of like auto delay or auto delay adjustment that's part of like HDMI. So I haven't watched anything else. Oh, I should have actually. I need to ask my daughter. Just now, just occurring to me as I'm talking, if they watched that whole movie and the lip sync was off, it was like really bad. No, they didn't. She didn't say anything about it. So the only other thing that I can think of is that was different about Ferris Bueller relative to a lot of stuff that we may have watched lately is Ferris Bueller was 4K SDR. It wasn't 4K HDR. And so I wonder if like, is there a lot less processing going on with an SDR native output movie rather than an HDR native output movie, and that's why the delay wasn't necessary. So there's something that I'm really keen to ask some questions to folks that may know the answers, qualified from MadVR, and as well as experiment around a little bit, because that's going to be a pain actually if certain types of content format requires me to go in to the Anthem where I have the delay set and change the delays. I suppose I could do virtual inputs, something like that, where I have a delayed input and I have a non-delayed input, and I can just select the one from the devices. But that was a really weird anomaly, and I haven't been able to put any time into trying to figure it out. But I'm really kind of curious about why that may be the case. Joe there had a similar thing with delay. My projector reports 130 to the MadVR no matter what. Then MadVR adds its own. Ended up decreasing delay by 100. The adjustment for me though is across the board. Yeah. So I've same thing. Like I do it in the Anthem. The Anthem is set up for 2 sources, the Apple TV and the Kaleidoscape. That's 2 inputs. And they're both set to, I think it's 210. 200 or 210. Let me actually log in to my Anthem and double check this while I'm talking about it. But anyway, I thought it was a really interesting element. Yeah, 210. Lip sync delay on my Apple TV is 210. Right now, the Kaleidoscape is set to 0. So I haven't switched it back. So I'll have to ask my daughter about JAWS and do some investigation of this, and can report back next week or whatever in a future conversation. Spliffy saying, made my girlfriend watch the Karate Kid movies. Yeah, you gotta watch the. It wouldn't make any sense to watch Cobra Kai before watching the original movies there, for sure. I've been really impressed with Cobra Kai. Is one of those shows that it's almost been a little hard to stick with it. Kind of like have to force your way through certain elements of it, because it feels like the show runs around in circles a little bit, and it just gets so corny and kind of ridiculous, but then it redeems itself, and then it gets ridiculous again, and then it kind of redeems itself, and then got real ridiculous right towards the end with the one kid getting killed or whatnot. But I've been really impressed with the final bit of the final season. The joke amongst us and other friends of ours that have watched it too is like, the show never ends. It's like you think this is it. It's going to be the final segment, the last season, and then nope, they reiterate everything again. Some crazy swerve, and it continues on and on and on. It's fully over now, but I'm happy. We have just like the last 2/3 of the final episode to watch. We binged it on the plane ride back from Sedona, coming back from our anniversary trip. We just watched it on my iPhone. Love Delta, man. Delta Airlines now. The last couple of Delta flights I've been on, it's free free internet, without even having to pay up for the ticket level or anything like that, and good quality internet. We were actually able to stream the show. It didn't look like a blurry mess. And I just took my latest AirPods with the noise cancellation. I used one, and my wife used one, and we watched all the episodes of the final block of the final season, except for, again, the last, like, whatever, 30 minutes of the final episode. So gotta see Johnny have his full comeuppance and kind of claim his life. I like that show was more about Johnny than it was about Daniel as well. So excited to finish that up. I'm still jonesing to watch Daredevil. Just had a question. I want to make sure I get this one here, at least for now. If you do have questions as I'm talking, star 'em. I'm going to try to hold the stream to an hour again, so we'll be off at 6. I may star some questions and try to get them at the end, but I'll do my best as well here. So Paul, hey, purchased a lot of K-Skate movies, never rented. Our rented movies, yeah, the same high quality. Oh yeah, Ren already answered. Yep, so rented movies and Kaleidoscape are the same as the purchased and downloaded movies. The only difference is, I think sometimes with the rentals, they may not give you special features, I think. If the extras are available, I'm not sure if you get the extras offhand on the rental, but the movie quality, there's no compromise to the movie quality. Oh, yeah, going back, like, yeah, learning curve from switching Windows to Mac. God, I wish she would switch to Mac. It would, like, solve so many tech hassles within the household, but just not doing it. She's a bit of a tech Luddite, but that's okay. I still love her. Yeah, Joe's saying, I do the adjustment on the AVR side. Yep, for the delays. Would have thought the reported delay from the projector may be dynamic. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if there's a way to measure a reported delay, but the 210 is kind of the published 200, 210 is like the published place to start with when you have the Mad VR in the mix. And I don't know if that changes if you have like the extreme versus the core, because it seems like it would, because like Motion AI should add latency versus not using Motion AI, unless they just, I don't know if they always run the processing loop timing similar, and it's just a matter of what they do within the loop so that they keep like some delay consistency. I'm not quite sure. Not quite sure on the detail there. The one thing that I did do, did play actually a good bit of games. So Saturday night, after all the garage work and outside work and stuff was done, and the teeny bop friends came over, my son and I, we marathoned some Spider-Man 2. So I think we're like closing in on 20 hours in the game so far, 18 hours in, 17, 18 hours in. We were just cranking missions, cranking side quests, having a good time. I love the game. We just got into Saturday and past the point where Peter has the Venom suit. So as much of a comic purist as I am that Harry Osborn is not Venom, it's pretty cool playing with the symbiote in the game. So super powerful. Combat's really fun. The symbiote suit does some pretty neat interactions and stuff like that. So we were having a good time with that. Still doing the couch co-op, do a mission or two, pass the controller, do a thing or two, pass the controller, and digging on that. So I'm not sure how long it'll take us to finish it. Maybe it's like a 30-hour game. But we'll probably I think we'll try to platinum it. Except for if platinum requires playing New Game Plus, because we won't play the whole game again. But whatever, we'll 100% and unlock everything in the main game and do all the side missions and side quests and all that sort of stuff. So then I don't know what we'll move on to after that, but something will be next on the docket. I did also encounter some weird anomaly with the gaming PC when we turned it on to play. One of the recent times as well was the colors were all off. Like HDR was reporting in a screwed up way. Maybe, I don't know. And what I found after a little bit of searching, basically, we just had to turn HDR off, and then things just don't look as good, in my opinion, playing gaming in SDR versus letting HDR do its thing, especially on the flat panel OLED and stuff upstairs. So what I discovered though is that we had just recently, applied whatever latest Windows 11 patch there was as well, and apparently they added Dolby Vision support. And I don't know if this is just broken or what the deal is, but it wasn't even just in the game. It was like the desktop. The color palette was all wrong, and the LG was indicating it was going into Dolby Vision mode, which was confusing me at first because it's like the PC should be outputting HDR10. Why is the TV going into Dolby Vision mode? That's probably why it looks messed up. The TV's in a different mode than the HDR format than the PC is outputting. But then I did some searching and realized, oh, they actually added Dolby Vision, like native support to Windows, and it's turned on by default. So going into Windows settings, display settings, HDR settings, and turning off Dolby Vision brought things back to the way that they're supposed to look for HDR and HDR10 on the PC. So be advised, if you have a gaming PC, perhaps connected in a home theater environment, flat panel, projector, whatever it may be, you may get some funky colors and may need to turn off the Dolby Vision mode. So again, interesting anomaly, but again, I don't know if it's just broken and they need to fix something. I don't know if there's actually really any net benefit of trying to use Dolby Vision on the gaming PC. Um, if any like games have to natively support it as well, if it's just there more for video. But I thought they did Dolby Vision on the Xbox at least a while back. Um, it's been a long time since I've had an Xbox connected in my system, and some games were supporting that, but I feel like Dolby Vision never really took much of a root on the HDR side of gaming. But yeah, always an interesting anomaly or whatnot. So the other thing that I wanted to mention, I was doing kind of like setting the itinerary for today's stream, and of course I pay attention to home theater news and whatnot. So I was asking in this, Google's AI, what's happened in the home theater industry in the last week, and it was interesting that like a bunch of market reports came back to me that were about like the state of the home theater market. I'm like, oh, this is kind of like nerdily interesting, as I am a fan of like kind of the business aspects of things, of course, and run business activities in a variety of home theater things. And so anyway, a lot of what it was reporting to me, which is interesting because as much as like we think like home theater is a niche, is very much a niche thing or has been a niche thing. Um, and I know I myself, I don't know a lot of people that are into this hobby outside of having the channel and all the friends that I've made through the channel. Before that, I didn't have a large social circle, or any really type of a social circle around this hobby. But there was some interesting things on the business side. So basically, integrators have seen a significant increase, 43% in dedicated home theater projects. Out of like these a couple of different market reports that basically had came out, kind of summarizing how healthy the home theater and the audio video market is. Like, wow, that's interesting. Like a lot of people actually looking to do dedicated rooms, and some talk in these market reports about integrators and dealers moving away from multifunction rooms, which I think had been really more of a focus of the last several years. It feels like the discussion was going more there. And that seemed to be what I think I was interacting with a lot of folks being more interested in in the pendulum swinging back to like dedicated rooms. And I thought this was interesting that they claimed the median price of a home theater install, and I think this was specifically from the CE Pro. There's a couple different reports that I was reading, was $62,500. So that's a pretty healthy amount of money for a home theater. Definitely, I've interacted and engaged with a lot of folks in the audience that are not spending anything close to that on their dedicated rooms. But I do know of a number of rooms that are probably certainly at that level or higher as well. So in terms of like a median price or rough average price, that gets you a pretty solid room. And it talked about the demand for enhanced home entertainment experience, driven basically by high quality content, which I thought was interesting. Nudge to Kaleidoscape, potentially, right? And technological advancements is what's driving the market growth. So a couple other things that I thought were kind of interesting is they were projecting, these market reports were projecting basically the growth of this industry, the growth of the home theater market. And I saw a couple different numbers, both for like the US market and more of like a worldwide. And basically over the next about 10 years, they're projecting that the home theater like market, um, cap is going to almost double. So right now, 2024, the home theater market in the U.S. Was valued, I think, according to this one article, at 7.3 billion, and by 2033, it's going to be 13. So if that happens, there's going to be a lot of entrants entries into our hobby, a lot of growth in our hobby, and hopefully that means good things for equipment, brands, developing new things, new technologies, and all that stuff. The worldwide market was growing, not quite double as well, but pretty significant, 24 billion 2024, up to 40 billion by 2034 worldwide. So pretty interesting. I thought anyway, it was pretty interesting takeaways. Um, Earlier this year, I would say it felt like maybe this hobby with the pressing threat of the tariffs and inflation and all of those cost management things and stuff like that. It felt to me like this hobby was going to take a bit of a hit or experience a bit of a lull. So it was happy news to see that that's not really what kind of the market reports in the market indicators seem to say. So curious, if there's anybody on the stream actually, what's your take on investing in the home theater hobby? Are you looking to increase your investment in the next year or the next 10 years? Keep it the same? Anybody out there um that's like on the early cusp of putting together a dedicated home theater space or building into home theater space? Sound off either live here or in the comments later. I'm curious to see what people say in that regard. So a couple comments here. Come back to some of the things that we were talking about. Pavel and the LG G5 gaming thread on AVS 59 owners have pretty much settled on Dolby Vision as the way to go. We'll have to check in on that. So I wonder if that's a G5. My TV is still the G2. um, like I said, I didn't really research into it, but I just had to turn it off because it wasn't representing right. Maybe something else. Yeah, here we go. Something else has to be said. It's a nest of settings to untangle to do it properly, though. Interesting. I wonder I wonder how they're even doing it as well. If it's like if you set it up, is it turning all of the HDR from any games into Dolby Vision, like rendering some native Dolby Vision um, by tapping into like the HDR pipeline, or does I wonder if games have to specifically be coded or built up to support it in some way. I'm not sure about that. I think that it requires further investigation. All right, just looking back through, I'll make sure to get some of these questions here. So let's go ahead and jump back a little bit. Brian Cobb, will you use SVS as auto EQ room correction when available? AVS rumors say it is delayed for an external mic instead of a cell phone mic. I wonder if they were not getting good results out of the cell phone mics. Calibration sequence, SVS auto, mini DSP, ARC thoughts. I'm not sure. I might try it just to see what it does. Um, I think one of the things about audio calibration that's a little opaque to me is the concept that, like, let's say any given audio device, right, has a limited amount of filters, has a limited amount of calibration processing that it can do and it can apply. But I feel like none of the systems tell you when they're like at their limit, or if I wonder if they just make like adjustments to how much equalization they're applying when they're um or basically up to their limit. So what I mean by that is, let's say you don't use anything in the subs themselves, which what I'm doing right now, and you just let Arc Genesis do everything, which is what I'm doing. No mini DSP, nothing else in between. Just Arc taking care of everything, right? That means Arc has to manage in its filters, in its processing capability, all of the EQ for all the speakers and all the subwoofers. And so what I wonder is, if you ran auto EQ on the subs independently, let them get their room response flatter, and more managed internally, and then run Arc on top of that, are you actually giving more power for ARC to be able to do a better job handling all of the speakers, right? Is it actually able to apply more power to um, more processing power to get a better result from by offloading a bunch of the work that it would have been doing for the subwoofers or not, or is there a different detriment to having two different equalization systems layered on top of each other? Like I don't feel like that's the case, that multiple well, let me rephrase that. I've heard, I feel like I've heard commentary both for and against layering equalization solutions. That it's not great to do it, and you could have like some competing results and whatnot. But then another way, in other scenarios or conversations, I have heard it recommended. So I would be inclined, when the time comes, when the stuff comes out, to perhaps ask those questions both to SVS and to Anthem and see, or maybe just take the time to try experiment um, and see what happens. But to me, I would feel that that was the whole point when I had the SB16s. I did use the PEQs in the subs just to try to kill some of like the big peaks, right? If nothing else, if the auto EQ lets you get some of the big peaks off of the subs, it feels like that would be a net positive to then feed a better curve into ARC, and that the two should integrate. But it's an interesting question, and um, I think yeah, I think it'll be interesting to find out. Yeah, David's saying if you kept the SVS flat and then used ARC for your target curve, yeah, it probably can't be horrible, right? As long as one thing you wouldn't want to do would be to like have the auto EQ in the sub really cut the sub down. So that's where it could get to be competing, because you wouldn't want it like cutting the sub down and then you're artificially like holding the sub down, and then ARC is trying to get boosted or get something out of it. So I think as long as you'd probably want to calibrate the sub to have um, um, to have a performance level that would be like at or exceeding the top level what ARC would want to do with it. So ARC is only basically trying to trim as well. That may result in a better integrative result, but it's not something that I've really done a lot with. I guess the only other time that I really had messed around with that at all was when I had the Harbottle for a little while there, and like the folks at Harbottle coding them, they were very inclined to actually want to do the calibration in the subwoofer and then let the room EQ of which was still, for me, was still Anthem, because I think at that point I might have had the AVM 70, but still the same room EQ. So they really wanted to manually tune the sub in room in the sub, and then um, have Genesis run on top of it. So interesting concept. I haven't heard anything about when the auto EQ firmware update is planned to come. I think it's supposed to be this year sometime, but not sure when. Interesting comment about the delay for an external mic. I wonder what they'll do with that then, because I don't remember if the sub actually has a mic port, or it'll just be like a mic, a better quality mic that you plug in to your phone, like a USB-C. Could be a USB-C microphone. If they just couldn't get the fidelity off of the in-phone mic, but if you do an external mic on the phone, you can still get the processing out of it that you want. So Paul's asking, do you have Anthem AVR? I have separates. So I have in the theater, I have the Anthem AVM 90, and I run a pair of NAD Masters M28 amps. In my living room, I have the Anthem STR preamp, and right now I run an NAD M23 2-channel amp. When I do the upgrade to the Utopias in the living room, I'll be running two M23s in like basically bridged monoblock mode. Why did you go with Anthem over others? So well, let me say too, I've had separates for quite a while. Well, long before the channel, long before the dedicated home theater, even when the room was my home theater was just my living room, multi-purpose living room. When we first moved in, I think that was the moment when I moved from a receiver to separates, and I was using Marantz AB 7702, I think it was 7.2 channel setup in Emotiva amps, and then Atmos came along, and I stuck with Emotiva for a while, and then I switched to Parasound, upgraded to an AB 7704, and then when I put the theater together, around that time is when I made the switch to Anthem, got the 70, and then eventually the 90. So I've been using separates, wow, for a long time, probably 12 years or so. Why did I go with Anthem over others? I did a lot of research at the time I bought the ABM 70. I looked at JBL, I looked at Arkham. I wanted to upgrade from Marantz. I wanted to upgrade from like the Marantz tier. Um, at the time, the landscape's a little different now from 10 years ago because now Marantz is actually hitting up there in, I think, performance and in price against the brands like Arkham and Anthem and whatnot. But I looked at Lindorf. I looked at Emotiva. I looked at Monoprice. I cross-shopped a lot of stuff. And to me, I think Anthem seemed to represent what I liked in terms of Arc Genesis had a really good pedigree of positive sentiment behind it. I liked the interface, the control, like the software, um, and just overall the build quality, the pedigree and stuff of the brand. North American company, um, with a really good, again, a really good pedigree and a really great reputation. And back in those days, when I plugged in the AVM 70 in place of my 7704, I feel that I found an upgrade very strongly then. That may be a little bit less so now, and like in terms of like the AV10, the Marantz, like the AV10s and AV20s and stuff, might be a bit of a closer battle. But when I made that upgrade, I was super happy um, with that choice and with that change. And I think as well, like over Dirac and Odyssey, still, I think Arc Genesis is the if you're not going all the way to like Trinoff level and stuff like that, I think Arc Genesis is still the best of those softwares. Yeah, there's still too many people have issues with Anthem for me to spend that kind of money. It's interesting. So I'll knock on wood some more. I won't say that I never had any issues with any Anthem equipment. The only issues that I've experienced, though, they haven't been performance. They haven't been operational, like playing content and stuff like that. I haven't had HDMI problems and things like that that I know others have had. But I think like, yeah, a preamp receiver is like one of the most complex pieces of equipment in our home theater setups in every brand. So that's another reason that I went with Anthem actually too, because if you back then you read the reputation about Emotiva as a preamp, forget it. Even Monoprice, the JBL, Arkham had far worse reports of problems and hassles and stuff like that than Anthem did. I think like Den and Marantz don't have that as much because they ship product, operate product on such a much more of a massive scale that integration is less of a problem for them because they're just so ubiquitous. It's not, whereas the other ones, all the other brands are a little bit more like niche and whatnot. But my only issue historically with my Anthem equipment has been on the network side of things, um, whereby like my preamp wouldn't upgrade its firmware, auto upgrade and upgrade its firmware online. Um, when it was wired, I had to switch to Wi-Fi. It's ridiculous, weird. Um, I can't run with the STR. I can't get Arc Genesis. It's been a long time since I've ran it, but anyway, so as of the last time that I ran it, I can't get Arc Genesis to connect while my Control 4 controller is plugged in. It's like there's some network exclusive mode or something that's going on. So I got to unplug the Control 4 controller, free up the network. By the same token, I think it's the same reason that like if I run here, I can even probably demonstrate this. If I run their remote app, So there's my STR pre. I'm going to click that. Connecting. You think it's going to connect. Boom, crash. Never had anything but that happen. So it's only the network side of thing that I've kind of struggled with. So it'd be nice to have app control. It works fine for the 90, but it never really works for the STR. If I unplug the Control 4 controller, though, it'll work just fine. David saying, I occasionally notice my AVM 70 starts broadcasting. It's a bit of annoyance. Otherwise, been stable. Yeah. I want to hit this other comment here. I think ARC will boost the level to bring the low end of the response to the largest level, and then apply filters to put the overboosted parts down. Yeah, maybe it'd be really cool actually. I could probably try to broker this, but maybe when the SVS equalization comes out, maybe I can try to set up a bit of like a live stream with some folks from SVS and from Anthem, and we can like go through like what together, what is the right process for this stuff, and how do they what's the right consensus from doing all the features that these brands offer. Paul, are you an Anthem dealer? I am not, unfortunately. I would very much like to be, but it has not come to pass yet. Not that I haven't asked. Not that I haven't asked. But I have a good relationship with them. The thing with is that different to be a dealer for brands. Different brands just have different dealer requirements, and they have different dealer goals, particularly when it comes to like where you're selling local versus nationwide and stuff like that. So I would love to be able to carry it just because I have an affinity for it, and I really do like the equipment. I have 3 of their things running in my stack in the other room there, but not yet. So if you wanted to support me, I still highly recommend the equipment, of course. I think it's awesome. If you were going to buy something Anthem, just do it through my affiliate links. I think both Audio Advice, technically Audio Advice and Crutchfield, I think both sell Anthem equipment. And so if you pick something up, definitely, let me know or whatnot. If you have any questions, happy to give my thoughts and recommendation. But just use the affiliate links and grab it. Would be much appreciated if you're going to pick something up. Let's see here. Star and comments. So coming up on the last little bit of the stream here, I want to make sure we get to these comments. So Terminator mentioned a little bit ago, did some critical listening going from UHD disc to streaming via Vudu and Disney Plus and the Apple TV. Honestly, couldn't really hear a difference. Yeah, make sure you level match as well. Usually you got to turn up the streams a little bit. I found like 3 to almost 6 dB. To level match them, the lossless tracks on the disc will play a little bit louder. I still want to do a streaming check-in. My next video, since I already have it recorded, it just needs to be edited, and it'll probably post a little bit later this week. Doing the streams on Mondays now. I normally would post videos as like my weekly cadence. I would try to post on Monday, but I don't want to post a video and do stream on the same day. So I'll probably start posting on Thursdays. If we stick to the stream on Monday, and then I'll post a video on try to get at least one weekly edited video on Thursday. But I still have the one about the Zotac 5090 install. But after that, I want to check in on streaming bit rates. There's been a bunch of big movies that have come out. The Captain America, Sinners, and whatnot. And I think there's a couple of other like exclusive movies. The camera's going wonky. A couple other exclusive movies came to some of the streaming services that are worth a check-in just to see if anything's going on with the bit rates. I doubt anything is, but we will see. Paul saying, anyone else waiting for Lethal Weapon 4K HDR to appear on Kaleidoscape? Yeah, I haven't watched Lethal Weapon in a long time. Classic movies, of course. What is new in the Kaleidoscape store, actually? I haven't. Ooh, it's not rendering right. There we go. We got a couple of movies. Point Break got an update. Time Cop, Jean-Claude Van Damme movie came out. Got the Thunderbolts listed. We went to the show to see that now, so. Burbs HD. There's a couple older movies coming. The Bill and Ted movies got updated to 4K just recently as well. And the Rocky, that was like a couple weeks ago, I think. The rest of the Rocky movies all got updated to 4K. Unfortunately, it's MGM. Yeah. So the 4K, the HD to 4K update offers like is still $21, but I'll buy those at some point. So I've been pretty happy. Like a lot of older classic movies that we've looked to watch lately have at least had their 4K updates, if not HDR updates as well. But I don't know specifically about that one title, so we'll see. Terminator. Oh, talking about the home theater cost. He spent 25K between 2020 and 2024 upgrading his room. Pretty much done. Nice. Yeah, 5 to 8 years, do some major stuff. Yeah, like that's a solid budget for a really great home theater experience, I think. With 62, the median price is 62. You can do a lot with 62K. Pavel saying, was there a time that you ran 120 hertz 4K through AVM 90 of the JVC without Mad VR? Thinking I may have to buy an HD Fury unit to run my 5090 more direct to my NZ9 to solve the ED gremlins. Let me see. No, not 124K. I have never had. Yeah, I have never had my PC connected to the NZ900. Prior to that was my NX7, which was not a 4K. It's not an HDMI 2.1 projector, so that would have been 4K 60, and that was prior. That was pre Mad VR as well in my setup. So I haven't done PC gaming or any gaming connectivity in here in quite a while now. At one point in time, I was trying to accomplish the goal of having the one gaming PC outputting two HDMI outputs, one to the TV for the living room and then a second for the home theater, whereby I could have Windows mirror the output. And so my master goal in that was, hey, I could have one computer pushing signals to either room, but that never really worked out how I wanted it to. But that even still, that was pre HDMI 2.1 anyway. And that failed for a couple of different reasons. I don't think I ever really made a lot of content about it because it didn't really work. I should have just made the content about how it didn't work, but I think they might have fixed this at the time. But the last time that I tried to do something like that, like Windows didn't allow you to output HDR to two displays at the same time or in mirrored or in screen mirrored mode. So that was like major failure. And then you can have it mirror video, but you can't have it mirror audio. So you had to like still manually change the audio device if I was going from room to room, and it didn't work out. So as it is, like I still don't really have any major desire to game down here. Gaming by and large for me, gaming is something that I do with my son. I almost never turn my PC on to play anything by myself anymore, and we occasionally, but rarely do we play like 4-player family stuff. So it's just me and my son, and when we're doing that, like it's fine. I'm happier to do it in the living room. The experience of gaming on the LG is better than the theater setup, and the theater setup is just too specific to video now with the Mad VR and the lens and all that stuff. Trying to circumvent all of that and make a gaming experience work properly wouldn't be. It would be more of a hassle, really, than it would be worth. Yeah. Talking about bit rates. Gran Turismo is one of the films that sounded the same to me on UHD disc and Voodoo stream. So it'd be good to check the bit rates. Historically speaking, in terms of streaming rates, Voodoo is okay. They're not the worst, but they're certainly not the best. And if I recall correctly, Voodoo does not. They're lower on the bit rates for audio as well, compared to like Disney Plus and Apple iTunes, which would be up there around like 770 kilobit per second. Voodoo would be like I think 400 or 500 kilobit per second. So yeah, I need to check in on it. It'll be interesting to see, just see if anything's different. Couple other comments here. Terminator saying, "My room is smaller, so surrounds and height channels are all within 5 feet of me. Don't need the extra power from separates." Yeah, might do a 3-channel amp. Yeah, that's always, I like that. I did a video like a little while back. That's probably one of my favorite configurations, I think, for a more, say, a more budget, but more like a more approachable setup, where I think you get probably the large majority of the value benefit of separates without having to go all the way, use a receiver and externally amplify the front three with a nice 3-channel amp. I think that's an exceptionally good way to go. Oh, there you go, Paul. See, ask and you shall receive. Just got it for you. Oh, UK Kaleidoscape Store, Lethal Weapon 4K is now available. Let's see, Lethal Weapon. Yeah, they're all HD. Oop. 1, 2, 3, 4. What studio is this? Warner Brothers. Well, at least when they come in 4K, they should be $4.92 on the digital offer. So that'll be good. Babel saying, yeah, it's hard to beat a nice OLED for a gaming experience. G5 is insane. Just wanted to at least be possible in the theater. Maybe more hassle than it's worth. Yeah, I still got my eyes on when we get this living room thing done, hopefully into July. Hopefully into July we can get this wall built and get the audio locked in first, and then I won't be in any hurry, but I think hopefully in this calendar year, it would be awesome to be able to move from the 83 G2 to the 97 G5. And God, it's just so much more cost effective to go up to a 98-inch television, not in the OLED. It's crazy. Like you look at like the TCL QM7K, I think it was, it's like under $3,000, $2,500 or something. So some of these big TVs are so much less expensive. But yeah, if I go the G5 route, that TV will hang in there for many a year to come. But we'll see what happens. Oh, here we go. Brian saying he had flickering problems going from Kscape AVM90 MadVR to an Epson with Pixel Gen HDMI cables. Switched to longer cables, and it solved the problem. I wonder, were your cables less than 6 feet? That's something that I often see recommended or referenced as well. If you're using ultra short cables, I don't know if they just run a little bit hot or what, but I think cables in the signaling of them is like generally tested and run around 6 feet. Paul, thinking of selling the AWOL projector and buying a 98 Sony Bravia 5. Yeah, I don't have a lot of experience with those projector brands. I've never really even seen them. I'm happy with what I have for sure. I don't think anything outperforms the JVC, but depending on what kind of screen size you're throwing, yeah, going to a bigger flat panel, I don't see how any projector would compete with that choice. Basically, the flat panel is just going to wreck it on brightness and black levels, processing, and like video format support, all that stuff. So if you're not significantly outsizing with a projector the screen size that you would get with a flat panel, depending on the room, if it's a multi-purpose room, a theater, or living room, or even a dedicated home theater, depending on how far back you're sitting and stuff like that, there's a lot of merit in a big flat panel. And I mean, they have the TCLs up to like 115 inches now. So yeah, so that was what I had. We're at 6:04. That's pretty much what I had for today. Again, next video will be about the Zotac, and then hopefully I can probably get to the streaming stuff, streaming bit rates. After that, I got to get this UPS in here, but got another long weekend little getaway coming up, so I'm not sure how much. I won't really be doing any tech stuff this weekend. We're heading out to the western side of Michigan for some beach time and some soccer in the sand tournaments and stuff. So it should be a good time. Oh, this is something that I haven't bought yet. The Switch 2. Switch 2 has a complicated HDR adjustment method. Yeah, I've been debating on whether I really want to Switch 2 or not. I didn't go out of my way to try to get on the pre-orders of them, and I haven't put any effort into trying to secure one since. But and I haven't really even read that much about it. Like, again, for as much as we game, we got plenty of stuff on the PC, and the PC is always going to be the superior technical experience. But the new Mario Kart sounds like it's getting some pretty good accolades. There's just something classic about a lot of the Mario and Nintendo brand titles, but we'll see. I may still get it up, or might still pick one of those up at some point. I'm missing the opportunity to strike while the iron's hot, though, in terms of any content, or actually making content and some commentary about it. Terminator. Mario Kart is the only game worth playing right now. Looks great on C4 OLED. It's actually like, is it open world or like? That seemed to be what. Again, I haven't even looked at any reviews or stuff on it. But at some point we'll see. All right, give another minute or two. Any last questions, comments? Again, next video will be the Zotac. After that, got to get this UPS in, hopefully check in on some streaming bit rates. And then I got to start thinking about where I'm going to show up. Planning to attend Audio Device Live. I think CEDIA registrations are open. Really would like to go to CEDIA this year as well. But I need to make some plans and stuff for that. I will most likely be at Audio Device Live. So if you're in or around or planning to go to that show, may be able to see you there. Joe, we watched Super Mario Brothers movie last night on K. Fantastic. Yeah, I really like that movie. I'm surprised that there hasn't been rumblings of a sequel yet. Surprised there hasn't been rumblings of a sequel to that yet. Feels like it's been long enough that it's about time. Terminator. No, you'll be busy with the family. Yeah, 7 minutes from Lake Michigan. Yeah, you're out there. We'll be in your neck of the woods. We'll be right at Grand Haven State Park Beach. Yeah, we'll see what's up maybe this weekend. Oh, there it is. Mario movie sequel release date on 26 or 27. Feels like a long time. But I guess maybe one was. Some things feel like they were a long time ago. Yeah, 2023. So I guess 2026 will be 3 years. I was going to say, you probably don't want to go more than 3 years between the sequels and whatnot. So they'll be right in there. Just feels like it's been longer since that had come out. Cool. All right. Well, thanks everybody for coming on, hanging out. Nice little cool chance to check in for an hour. I do expect to stream again next Monday. Might not have a super amount of tech stuff to talk about then as well, but still planning for that. So thanks everybody for coming out. If you have question, comments, any of that stuff, leave it in the comments of the video. And yeah, we'll talk soon. Coming back for more home theater discussion and fun. Thanks.